What's up, guys? Brennan Tolman here. Another rant about the coronavirus and what's happening here in the United States. I'm going to start by saying I'm pretty pissed off. I'm really frustrated. Today I basically had to close down temporarily for 3 to 4 weeks my business and put like 7 people out of a job. Now, hopefully within a month, if people can figure their stuff out, we'll be able to open back up and it'll be fine. But it's really frustrating. And it was so hard to have to tell, 7 people, hey, sorry guys, guess you don't have a job anymore because nobody is spending their money thanks to the media, thanks to the government. So essentially what has happened is, you have the government and the media, which is scaring people so badly. Most people that I know, and I guess this depends on where you live, don't even know anybody that has the coronavirus. But we all know so many people who have been affected by it. I don't know anybody that has the coronavirus. I know 9 people that have lost their jobs so far because of the coronavirus. So at least in my world here, I have known more people that have gotten more economically affected and have their livelihood ruined than have their lives in danger at all because of this virus. And so I've thought a lot about, why, what's going on? And honestly, what it is that, you've got the government that has terrified people and scared them into not wanting to spend their money. And there's an economic principle called the invisible hand, and it basically just says that the billionaires and wealth actually is controlled by the masses. Most people have got this mindset that if you're a billionaire, you somehow, inherited it all or whatever. But the reality is the masses, if you're a wealthy person, it's because people have given you their money. That's just how it works. So the invisible hand of the public that has made you either wealthy or not wealthy. Jeff Bezos has provided so much value to the world. We have all literally handed him our money. Every time an Amazon package shows up on your porch, you have given Jeff Bezos more money, like it or not, right? And so what happens is when you, as the government, are irresponsible and as the media are irresponsible and you allow people to be terrified and you force businesses to shut down, which then causes a compound effect. People get scared. People hide their money under their pillows. People stop spending, which means businesses can't afford to have employees, which means they lay them off. And then maybe eventually that business closes. And then all the people that have either invested money in that business or they love that business or they have ongoing business with that business, now, they lose all of that because the business can't afford to stay in business. I think it's really irresponsible of the government to shut down, all these stores and restaurants, basically the whole nation, right? And it's so funny. I've watched people go through like 3 distinct phases with this shutdown, right? I would call the first one the honeymoon phase of quarantine and of lockdown. I had so many friends who were like, oh my gosh, everybody just stay home, lock down the nation. And they were all like posting on their story about how righteous they were and how great they were for like staying home and that they were a true hero and they were comparable to like the veterans from like World War II. Like this is how we as a generation get to save the world. And I'm like, what? I just think it's so stupid. It comes the honeymoon phase, right? Where everybody's feeling so cool. And then the reality kind of starts to set in. And I think that's kind of what's happening. Tomorrow's April 1st. What does that mean? That means a lot of businesses have rent due. A lot of businesses have expenses due at the beginning of the month, which means they're going to have to make, like me, a lot of hard choices. I made the decision to not open in April. And I'm okay with that. Personally, I'm fine, But I've got multiple businesses. I've got multiple things going on. And it's going to hurt me, absolutely. But I think it's going to hurt, these 7 people who this is their only gig. And I love them. And now they don't have a job anymore, right? And it's because people won't spend their money. And weddings, which is my business, is I would consider it an essential business, right? You're always going to get married. There's always going to be, and you always need a photographer. if you're going to get married, like 98% of the time, I think the stat says like you need a photographer, even if you're eloping, especially in the world of Instagram and Facebook, you need a photographer. Well, if people aren't spending money on us, then they're definitely not spending money on, I don't know, new pillows, right? And these, I don't know, car seat covers and all these really just excess products that aren't necessary or essential at all. And it's kind of like we're in this reality phase now where people are going to start realizing this week, all those honeymoon people who were just like, oh, I'm so righteous. They're going to be like, wait a second, I actually don't have enough savings to go 3 months without a job, without any income. And even the people that are working at home, I'm just telling you that at some point it doesn't make financial sense for your business to keep paying you. I promise you. Like if customers can't go out and buy things, then there's no point. They can't afford to keep paying you to work from home in your PJs, which I'm sure you love, and I'm sure you think it's this great gig. And I promise you, if we don't all move into the reality phase quickly enough to realize, wait a second, there's something dangerous here about shutting everything down. Oh my gosh, businesses are shutting down. If we don't get to that reality phase sooner, and we all don't understand like the actual implications of doing this, then we're going to enter the collapse phase, which is where people start losing their jobs, they start losing their houses, they start losing their cars, and it compounds and it compounds and it compounds into a recession. So it's interesting, how long can we actually expect the public to comply? There's a lot of states that obviously don't even trust the public, and so they're making it like a misdemeanor to even be outside. Like you could go to jail for a year. In a lot of states, they have the army, they have the National Guard at these checkpoints, right? You can't get in or out. It's actually a lot of places. And a law is only a law if you can enforce it. And I think that it's at some point in the next few weeks, we're gonna hit a chokehold where suddenly you have all these people saying, wait a second, can the government actually shut me down like this? You're going to have people who would rather risk getting the virus than, ruining their livelihoods, right? And you already have that outside. You already have people risking it, but you're going to have more and more and more people, and the government is going to, lose control and either have to, shoot a bunch of people, smoke bomb, right, use force, or they're going to have to just say, well, guess that didn't work, and then release it. And it's kind of a lose-lose situation, because in one the government looks weak, and the other one the government looks like a total dick, and neither of those are good scenarios to be in. Currently we're trying this flattening the curve, right, where if we stay home X amount of weeks, then we can not overburden the hospitals and whatever. But I mean, eventually, guys, we are going to have to move to herd immunity. We have to. It's inevitable. We have to get there. We can't stay in our houses forever, right? And so I'm just telling you, like, from a business owner and owning multiple businesses, the best way to actually keep your job indirectly is to spend money, is to go out there and keep money flowing in the economy. Today I went to Shields. It's a clothing store that I like, sporting goods store, and I didn't need to go to Shields. I mean, I'm not going outside. I don't need a new shirt. No one's going to see me, maybe for like a month or two, who knows. But I went to Shields because I love Shields and I support Shields. And I picked up local food on the way, and I went to Shields. So I get it. It's not a local company, but it's a company I appreciate. And I spent my money. And you know what I saw? 2 customers in a massive store. And there was, I counted 32 employees. And I got asked 8 times, hey, is there anything I can help you find? There are these employees who are bored to tears. Now, Shields is trying really hard to keep paying them because they don't want to, cause a recession and let people go. But there was 2 people in the store. And you go do that math, right? I mean, it's not very hard math. If you're paying them $8 an hour and they're there for 8-hour days, here, I'll do it right now. So each employee, 8 times 8, 64. We'll take some tax money out, right? 8. So let's say $56 per employee times the 32. That's $1,800, of wages or whatever, that you're going to have to pay just for, whatever, that day, right? And that's not including taxes and benefits and whatever else they offer. There was 2 people in the store, and I spent like $30. And so, my point is, right, it's eventually it's going to be horrible. And eventually, like, businesses can't stay open. And so the best way is to make your way actually out, be safe about it, social distance, but spend your money and spend them at local places who are hurting the most, buy those gift cards or like whatever. But we're going to have to move to herd immunity at some point. And, the last thing that I want to say is a lot of people think that, these honeymooners, they're like, well, destroying the economy is worth saving lives, the value of human life. And I totally agree with that. However, I would counter and say that by destroying the U.S. economy, yes, you might save some American lives. But as somebody who does international business in India, in China, in Taiwan, in a lot of these second and third world countries, or just, more, well, there's a lot of poverty, I can tell you that, if my business doesn't have money to, coming in the doors because people won't spend it, I'm not going to go continue to work with my guy in India who works, who builds my software. And I'm probably a very significant source of his income. And all the other American companies are going to do the same thing. And so suddenly that dude who lives in a country that has way worse healthcare and way less government help and intervention and no stimulus packages over there is going to lose his house. And his family could starve, right? And so what I'm trying to say is there will be a domino effect. If the American economy tanks, just go look at the recession, go look at the data, go look at the numbers. Other countries will inevitably either enter a recession, people will lose jobs, it's going to be awful. There will be a domino effect. America does so much business with all the countries around the world that if our economy tanks, I would argue with you that we will kill just as many people from starvation and suicide and their livelihoods being ruined, just not in America. As if we, I guess, stayed home and whatever. So that's all I'm trying to say is I think that people are not understanding. Yes, we might go outside and get herd immunity and spend our money and sure, well, if we can quarantine ourselves and lock ourselves up, yeah, we might save more American lives, but we will ruin the economy. We will hurt businesses. People here will lose their jobs, and people in other countries will lose their lives because they'll starve and they won't have jobs and they won't have governments that have the money to bail them out. I mean, our government doesn't even have the money to bail us out. So we're borrowing all of it, right? So that's all I'm trying to say is I would counter and let you know that tanking the economy will kill a lot of people. It's just going to be very indirect and it's going to happen over time and it's going to kill their businesses and it's a lot harder over there. So that's just my rant video for now. Spend your money, go out there. And I think it's irresponsible of the government to scare people so badly. Ask yourself this. I think that if I can have somebody come to me and say, hey, I know 500 people who were affected by the virus and only 20 who lost their jobs, and that, then I'm going to say, absolutely, the virus is horrible. Let's hide from it. But I would guess that, 95% of people in the world, I guess excluding China, but maybe even China could say that they know more people who have lost their jobs because of the economic impact of coronavirus than actually have the coronavirus.